everybody, and welcome to 40K Fight Club. This is episode, I think, 13, but I didn't do my due diligence on that one. So if you're plus or minus an episode, we apologize. This is the 26th, 27th of April. This is a Tuesday night. Thank you, everybody, for being with us here for the live stream or listening to us in wherever you are in the podcast land. I am your host. I am Ennis Wilson. I am joined, as always, by Anthony and Nathan. Or don't, that's fine too.
Oh,
Oh, we were supposed to say something. Oh, Jesus.
You say hello. Normally,
hello.
This is what happens when I don't podcast for one episode, apparently, is I forget how to podcast.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. This is Nathan.
He's back.
I'm back.
Nathan's back. A dinosaur story.
I know it's true. I will also be gone next week. Sorry, folks. But
so it's a Nathan sandwich.
It's a Nathan sandwich. It's true. I'm only in between Anthony and Ines. I know. I was gonna say
it looks like I'm keeping my spot in the camera as well, because last time I'm normally down below and now I'm up top because Nathan left for an episode.
I was also going to say you could have come to Charity Hammer Ines and we could have recreated an actual sandwich. But
I could have. Unfortunately, the sheer gravitational force of that might not have allowed anybody else to escape.
Yeah. We would just all be stuck there.
Binary star situation. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Anthony, how was your weekend?
Cool. Can I finish introducing the episode, guys?
No
offense. Anyway, everybody. So this is episode 13. This episode is called "A Balanced Meta is Eldar in Both Hands," which is I'm enjoying the coming up with the fun. Nobody else puts any effort into the episode, so I just get to make the things that I find funny. And honestly, it's the best part of my week. So yeah, this week we're going to be going through. We're going to be going through some of the results from the weekend. We're actually going to be returning to our regularly scheduled format. We have actual tournaments to talk about. Some with all with the Balance Dataslated, some without the Tyranids Codex. Nathan's got stats and everything. We're going to be doing like the full regular show that you will be like used to ignoring because this hasn't happened in a while. And we're excited about that being a regular show, which has also not happened since like episode 2. So it's good. It's a good time to be here. So how has your weeks in 40K been? Let's do the easy bit.
Well, I guess I can start. I helped run an event over the weekend, so I got to watch other people play 40K for most of the weekend on Saturday. I did get to play 2 judges games and then with Tyranids. So I played my fellow judges and the people playing in the RTT were having a relatively good old time. And I managed to beat both orcs by turn 3 and then tabled an Eldar player effectively by turn 5, which was kind of nice. But then a Tyranids player using new Tyranids rule and the Balance Dataslated won the RTT. So there was that as well.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Anthony, how about you?
It was good. This was my first week. So like at some point last weekend, like not this one that just passed, the one prior, I was exposed to COVID. So last week was my first week playing with TTS because I had to practice for both an impending teams event eventually and a singles event that's coming up. So I got to get some licks in with new NIDs. They're really fun. They're a good time. I like playing them a whole bunch. They definitely get to recreate a lot of the things that I liked about the various things that I've played so far. It's like big boy time, but my characters are big boy as well. It's nice. Instead of being little tiny elves, the murder things are real big. So it's good. It's also grossly overpowered in the best army that I've ever played by a considerable margin. But aside from that, it's also really fun.
I am enjoying that everyone on the show has just eventually caught we're all Tyranid players.
Yeah.
Before it was like, yeah, we got the guys who will play Eldar, like you just have your own side projects. And then in this Tyranids Space Race, no, all of us Tyranids.
Tyranids only.
It's great. I'm loving it.
Praise be. I get my
I unfortunately don't have my my really cool converted Hive Tyrant to hand. I will actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a message in the Discord, and if Anthony can figure out how to pull up a picture, we're going to figure out how to use the picture thing because I can put a picture of my Hive Tyrant in the chat.
You make me do text stuff live.
I think it's cool enough. Yeah, we're going to do text stuff live.
The other thing that I loved was I assembled the Parasite and figuring out how absolutely tiny he is.
Yeah, I finally picked mine up today. I'm looking forward to getting the belt.
This is a Tyranid warrior next to the Parasite, and the Parasite is definitely shorter than, or definitely just taller, but also much smaller than the Tyranid warriors overall. But she is a very easy to assemble model.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting her built. I got my dice as well. I
Oh,
got
nice.
2 packs of the Tyranids dice ready for my GT this weekend.
I also have those. Yeah.
See, I was
Yeah.
just
They roll like garbage, by the way.
Do
Like,
they?
genuinely, they were awful for me.
I was just rolling Drukari dice with my Tyranids because that's just how I go.
That is a shameful and disturbing experience that nobody should
They
have.
roll really well for feel no pains.
What are you doing?
Look, for one
It took
game,
my high turn 8
Nathan!
damage to pass a feel no pain. I was so upset.
look, they pass all their 5-up feel no pains because they're prepared and well trained from Thick City.
Can't believe you. Never been more disappointed in you than in right now. Including that time that you left Drazar off the table into the
including that time that you made tea in the microwave.
That was
that
okay. That was acceptable.
See,
But-
that doesn't hurt Anthony's feelings. That just hurts everybody who's not an American's feelings.
Yeah.
So everybody who matters is feeling. Yeah.
Oh.
Probably shouldn't say that like on air. Like,
Yeah,
that might
gonna
get me in a little bit of trouble.
Also, Innes, are you going to be? Which kind of heavy cover benefit are you going to be picking today?
I'm taking a heavy set to defend. And,
Okay.
Heavy set to defend. Different from normal set to defend.
Yeah, it's because I'm fat. Like,
Oh,
get that out.
okay. Really angle down. He has to do it as an action. That's not free when it gets charged.
Yeah, I don't have to do that in action. That's just a data sheet rule.
Oh,
And obviously, I'll be taking the +1. I'll be taking the +1 to save because all I got is a T-shirt save. So
fair.
right.
getting that 5 up against I don't know, like the witches that nobody's using anymore.
That's
You're
right.
You're wearing the
okay.
magic pajamas.
Anthony is going to finish sorting out our tech support, and then we will be getting to the meat of the show. So this weekend we have a few GTs to talk about. We had the Bristol GT, which was a 183 player super major in England. We have Rataclysm, which was out in Australia. We have a bunch more, as I totally don't go and read the show notes to figure out exactly what we're actually talking about. I remembered all of this. I think there's 2 or 3 more that were smaller ones, like the 30 to 40 player mark. Yeah, we have the Frontier Open in America, the Renegade Wargaming Spring GT also in America, and the Dawn of War 2 in Norway. So we will be talking about those 5 tournaments. I believe Nathan's stats will cover a few more because Nathan likes to go a little deeper into the dregs, like the 20 to 25 player mark. Is what Nathan? I think you pulled 25s, Nathan.
25s and 5 rounds are the requirements for stats, so it's actually pretty much the same as what you just listed. Dawn of War, the Legion event, Renegade Open, the Frontier Open, Radicalism, and Bristol.
Yeah. So we'll be going through those.
Everything else was around 20 to 22 people.
Yeah, and I think that's a bunch of the ones that were using the new Tyranny Codex, unfortunately.
Yep. I actually have notes for each of them, and I'll talk a little bit about it as we
Perfect.
go.
Nathan is doing all of the hard work for us here. So yeah, we'll be going through the stats of that, and then we will be going through the meta. We'll be going through the breakdown. We'll be talking about generally the winner from each event. We'll go through probably the top 4 for Bristol because it was a super major, and then we will be going into a meta discussion where the 3 of us will be talking through a bit of the general feelings on how the meta is trending post Balance Dataslated, what the general perception is on what the best armies are at the moment. What changes we think are going to be coming, how you can deal with some of the best armies at the moment. If you're particularly interested in hearing our thoughts on beating Eldar and beating Tyranids, you should stick around. We'll be telling you how to beat our own armies. We don't know either. It's okay. You can laugh at that. It's okay. And then that will be the end of part 1 of the show. So if you are listening to us on the YouTube live feed, that you will get to keep going. We'll take a 10-minute break. We'll be back with part 2. Otherwise, you can either do that. You can either stop there and you'll get all of part 1, which is, as we think, pretty good content. Or if you are a member on the YouTube page, you can stick around for part 2, where you will get our we will be doing the bonus round, which is the section where we go through questions from both the live chat and the Discord, which is patreon.com/bestintabletop. You can get access to that, where you can ask us as many questions as you like if you're not on the live stream, and you can catch them back on the VODs later. All right, let's Anthony, I'm just going to assume, can't figure out tech support despite working in IT.
I'm not figuring it out. It's this
like the other
4
shows
buttons.
have this down. Like they've got like PowerPoints going over. No, we have basically figured out that we can change our names and that we can run the music that's preset, but we can't figure out how to change that to our music.
I can change layouts. I can make us look like this. I can do all sorts of stuff. But look,
So
man.
you could do one thing, which was change the layout.
Yeah. Listen, I can add banners. Look at this. Ready? Bam. Look, there's our Patreon. Wow. How cool. But
Yeah,
I gotta add an image.
Maybe one day what we should like take the reins off of Anthony for this one so we can figure out how it works. Like
No,
just a
I'll
little
just
bit.
take a look more thoroughly. Listen, you didn't tell me about this. You got to tell me beforehand if you want me to know how to do things.
Yeah, by episode 15, we promise Anthony will have learned one single thing about how to use this.
He's got performance anxiety in us.
Yeah, now I'm scared. I'm nervous.
Cool. So you guys don't get to see my half turn. Go and follow me on Twitter at NSA Wilson. There
Actually,
you go.
you can also just look at. Oh man, this is going to be a bold play. I'm going to use a URL in chat. And we're going to see how this goes. And bam!
This is just absolutely fantastic. That's a Discord attachment. I'm not sure that's going to work.
We'll see.
Okay, and for everybody listening on the podcast, getting this just wonderfully exquisite content, we are now going to move into the stats section with me. With Nathan, would you like to fire off with the beginning of the stats section? Anthony can ride a bike with no handlebars. I love that song.
Right.
You can actually see Ennis's Hive Tyrant on my monitor right there.
It works.
It's there. So the link works.
Kind of.
Boom.
Boom. Exactly. Okay, so stats, because that's
Stats.
actually what we wanted me to talk about and not.
Yeah, we are 12 minutes into the episode. Let's start providing content.
Sure. I
Right.
mean, content or content. All right. So the first thing that I want to say to everybody who's so excited to figure out if the meta is fixed is that you might need to wait at least one more week. One of the problems with this week of the data, just like other times, is that when you get a bunch of new stuff shoved into the meta, not everybody uses it right away. So unfortunately, only about half of this week's stuff used the data slate or new Tyranids. So Bristol, as far as I could tell, didn't use the slate or new Tyranids.
Bristol used the slate,
Did they use the slate,
Yeah.
but not new Tyranids? Okay.
not new Tyranids. Yeah,
And then,
Tyranids were only out a week before list submission, so they didn't make the cut.
and then Radicalism used old Tyranids and then kind of sort of used the balance slate. They used some of the stuff, but not all of it. Frontier Open used the slate, but no new Tyranids. And then Renegade had both new Tyranids and the new balance slate. And then Dawn of War had new Nids, but Crusher was banned, and I couldn't figure out if they used the slate or not.
If they used Nids, you have to hope they use the slate, right?
And then Legion used the slate and new Tyranids. So we've got kind of like a mix.
Yeah. So we have
bag
like
of events.
3 different metas this week. I believe there was also one event this week that used new Nids and Crusher.
Yes, one of them had everything allowed.
Yeah.
No.
I don't want to look at that event stats because they'll make me sad.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be very, very sad to not be able to tell you all the hot takes that you guys love on the stats front.
Yeah.
Where
Sorry, just to confirm, Conrad's list from the Bristol top 4 was paying 95 points for starting. So yeah, use the balance data slate.
okay, good. Yeah, it's hard to tell. Everybody, sometimes your rules packets are a little hard to access, and it's a little hard to tell from your Facebook pages that you never update if you're using certain things or not. So instead,
Yeah, a lot of it goes out in like email blasts
Yep.
for the UK events, sadly.
so if I have a bunch of TOs in here who are listening to me chat shit about your event, if you could
Please put things in your rules pack.
please put links to your rules packets in your BCP page so I can easily access it, so I can figure out which meta I'm looking at today. That would be great. Just like all those people, and I'm looking at Anthony, who like to put in the wrong faction, so
I
that
would never. It's
so that
only
we have to
Tyranids.
look
It's easy.
at different. So we have to look at your list to make sure that they're right, which Curie does, because Curie is a kind and blessed soul.
All right,
He's
Nathan.
very patient.
Let's give the people what they want.
Oh, numbers. Yes, I'm
Stats,
sorry.
numbers.
Excellent. So
Guard is still terrible, right?
Guard is in fact still
Guard
terrible,
got
and
worse.
don't worry about it. We are gonna talk about it. First, though, we're gonna do some top 10s, top 4s, and GT wins and some meta overrepresentation because everybody loves listening to Nathan read from a spreadsheet. First, what we're gonna talk about is there were basically no orcs at all, but that's neither here nor there. Because I saw Curie's comment pop up. But the number
Well,
one
what's an orc?
faction,
Those aren't
what
real.
is an orc? It's true. The top performing faction of the weekend is, strangely enough, drum roll please, Craft World Eldar, with 9 top 10 finishes, 4 top 4s, and 2 GT wins, which ties them for best in GT wins. And they have an An overrepresentation of about 2.5, so they're about 2.5 times more represented than they should be. And then Craft World Eldar make up about 6.7% of the meta this week. So they've dropped a little bit. We're kind of starting to struggle to see how, yes, you are, where the Custodes players are going to go. And we're going to talk about this fun thing called the Golden Drop, in fact, where the Custodes representation drops and spreads out to a bunch of other factions. But
why would that be? Why would anybody stop playing Custodes right now?
I don't know. We'll have to talk about it. But Tyranids are the second best performing faction, mostly because I sorted this by how many top 10s and how many top 4s you got, and I don't care how many GT wins you get. Tyranids got 7 top 10s, 6 top 4s, and 1 GT win. So they were actually 3.5 times represented for top 4s. They did really well. They converted really well on top 10s into top 4s. And yeah, 3.5 is perfectly represented. Only 3.5.
It's only 2.5 off of perfectly statistically significant.
It's less than 5, so it's good.
It is less than Harlequins, yeah. Who we will also talk about a little bit later. And then I'm also going to caution everybody to not jump to conclusion. Yeah.
Harlequins are bad now, dude.
No. I'm sorry.
Look, I am as a child, I am playing hopscotch at all times, and the only square available is conclusions. Okay. So we gotta be jumping.
Fine. So the third best faction is not surprising because they got the gentlest of touches. One would even think that the Ethereals got there first and negotiated some kind of concessions out of Games Workshop. Tower coming in
6 inches at the center of the battlefield and did an action to meet with your opponent's warlord.
Exactly. Yeah. And they rolled a 6, so they succeeded.
And they got those diplomacy points for Crusade.
Exactly. So at 2.6 times over rep, so more than Craft Worlds, they got 7 top 10s, 4 top 4s, and 2 GT wins. So they're doing really well. And 6.4% of the meta, which is also a really big drop from their high. And then in 4th and in 5th place, we have Grey Knights, who were 7-2-0. So they didn't win a GT, but they did pretty well, and they're 1.5 times rep, so relatively balanced. And then Drukhari coming in at 5th with 5, 2, and 1 GT win. They won a GT this weekend, and they're at 1.6 times over rep. So for some reason, Drukhari have decided that they want to play again and that they're not going to take their ball back to Kimura.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Incubi have still got a lot of AP. Like, yeah. AP3 is still good.
They beat the brakes off some Marines.
Some.
Well, that's a long cry from I can never lose to Marines with Drukhari. Where's that spirit gone?
Man, Armor of Contempt
we got to talk about that one because that is good. I enjoyed that.
We are going to talk first about some win rates though, because I love you all so dearly. So on the bottom we have Forces of the Hive Mind, who have no participation and therefore have a 0% win rate this weekend.
Oh, no one's playing the hipster faction anymore. I'm shocked.
I know. Now that
Tyranids... Also, the hipster faction was the only way to make 12 Hiveguard fun.
Hipster faction.
Only slightly better than 0 is Astra Militarum, who have a 23.8% win rate.
Yes.
Can I request, what was that 2 weeks ago?
It was like 34-ish. Yeah. So when we were
on the Balance Dataslated episode, we were like, yeah, Guard will probably like go up to about 40 something because it's fairly reasonable to something like an extra half. No.
What we didn't take into account was that Guard players play Guard.
And
so when more of them play, their win rate goes down.
I will also say that the other factions that are kind of struggle busting a little bit right now are Adeptus Mechanicus, Imperial Knights, Thousand Suns, strangely enough, and Orcs, who are kind of in that almost sub 40 in the case of Orcs, who are at 40, and Orcs and Thousand Suns, who are at just above 40, and then everybody else on that list is below 40% for win rate. Thank you, Kiri, for pulling the accurate win rate of 29.8%. So they dropped 5%. It's
quite great. A lot.
But I do want to say the most astounding thing that I heard is that Harlequins might be balanced. They had 17 players for about 4.2% of the meta, and they had a 50.6% win rate this weekend.
Looks fine, dude.
I know it's fine.
Yeah, there's nothing to do with that.
Nope.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's
That's
fine.
almost 2.5 percentage win points for every inch of movement a Void Reaver has.
Exactly.
Right.
Strangely enough, which is also why I caution people, is that Harlequins dropped 20% in their win rate over a weekend, which might not be fully accurate to the
What did their
actual
play rate drop?
situation. It didn't actually drop that much, about a percentage
Not
point.
much.
About 1 to 2 percentage points, probably. At most 2 to 3. I'm sure Kiri will pop into chat in like just a couple seconds and be like, Nathan,
But
just
like
quick.
when you're at but like they were at what, and now they're at what in terms of play rate?
So they were around 6 to 7, and now they're at about 4.2.
Okay, so they lost about a third of their players.
Yeah.
Like 1 to 2%,
There it
or
is.
it
They
doesn't.
lost
Yeah,
1.4%. So they lost about a third of their players.
yeah.
So it is a
That's
sizable
quite a
proportion of
lot
the players. And it's
because
interesting.
that's probably the bandwagoners who are jumping onto the other good armies now.
Yep. It's interesting to me because what we really see is that the faction is not bad, but that people can't win quite as easily now.
And they have to try. And unfortunately, as Eldar players, that's impossible.
Exactly.
They will just change faction.
Um, I know that's targeted at the other two members of this podcast who play elves, and I accept it. That's okay. Zach the Bird in chat. I get all this data from BCP. Curie curates it, funnily enough, and then me and Curie also chat our way through it. So Curie is the kindest of souls and the kindest of peoples, and he gathers it all from BCP for us on the weekly.
Curie is a wonderful Canadian who I don't believe actually exists, but is actually a combination of like 17 other stats people who just
Mhm.
agreed to build a robot to blame everything on.
It's true. And we do a lot of scraping of BCP in order to get it. So if you have a Best Coast Pairings membership, you can also scrape their website in order to get through
Yeah.
it.
The way you get access to this data is you bleed and sweat for it like these guys do.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
I also still play elves. I just am playing bugs right now. But back onto stats. Okay. So the one thing that I thought was really interesting this week is we saw Tau and Custodes, and then Tau and Custodes dropped quite mightily from above 10% meta representation to about 6.4% each.
So again, about a third of their players.
Yep. So another third of their players have dropped off, and we're starting to see that spread out a little bit. There's been kind of an evening out of the field. One of the other things that we started to see is that the Space Marine numbers are starting to jump back up. So Space Marines are now very clearly, at least for this weekend, the dominant faction from a representation perspective. 18.5% of the field was Space Marines or Space Marine focused factions.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like at their height, custodes were like 15 to 16%. And that was like when they were the most broken thing.
Yep.
And they were hitting that. And it's like, yeah, Marines, yeah, 20% of the meta. That's just normal. Marines will always be, even when they were like lower, they were still like hitting the 12, 13, 14%. You will, now that Marines are playable, you will expect to play one or two Marines at every tournament you go to again.
Yep. But we're gone are the days where a quarter of the field is represented between Tau and Custodes.
Thank God.
Yeah, now it'll be Eldar and Tyranids.
That's fine.
If we
Completely
discount Space Marines and look at this weekend, Tyranids are number 2, and then Pure Eldar are number 3, and then it's Tau, and then it's Custodes, and then it's Necrons, and then Grey Knights, and then Drukhari.
Sounds way better.
But overall, the factions are starting to kind of even out around 5%. Most of the factions are at least 4 to 5. And then there's a few factions and then some soup factions that are represented below that as well. And yes, God, do I wish that BCP had an API. We actually don't so much scrape so much as we basically just manually pull all the data. I will say that we're going to kind of start a new season effectively for tracking some of this stuff with the balanced data slate and new books coming out and Knights kind of on the horizon, and with changes to a lot of how the fundamental rules of the game work, specifically bodyguard and ignore our line of sight.
Yeah, there will probably be, as of tomorrow or as of this week, probably a balanced data slate and Tyranids world meta. So we'll have like a soft reset in the results.
Yep.
Seems like it would make sense.
This will essentially be the first week that we track for kind of a soft reset of the meta, and we'll see how things go basically from the end of that meta moving forward.
And then we can compare it to the worst of the old.
Yep, and we'll see if this meta is better. A lot of people are thinking that this will be less like the queue of a balanced meta until Tyranids kind of hit their stride, but I'm curious to see if that kind of actually follows through or not.
I don't think
I
so.
guess we'll see.
But that's it for stats. It was kind of a light week. We only had 6 GT sized events that we were tracking. So just 6 events of 5 rounds and 25 players or more. We're not going to have any faction v faction data chat today. I don't think it's interesting to stack the previous season's data on top of this data to look at faction v faction. And unfortunately, even with several hundred games of 40k played, it's just not as interesting to look at that faction v faction data yet.
Yeah, we don't want to start misleading anything in the sense that we have very little data to go on right now.
Yeah.
We're right at the start of a new thing, and everything's about to change next week. And if we start saying things now, there's a very real degree of we could just be wrong, and we don't want to put that out there. We think it's more useful to you guys to accept that we have the limitations on this one right now, and that we will gladly be back telling you all of our terrible hot takes in a week or two, because we will definitely start having. We should get a lot more data from this weekend and the weekend after that. Now that events will almost universally be playing Balance Dataslated and Tyranids Codex.
Yep. And I do want to say, just because I enjoy taunting Sisters players, because inevitably what happens is the faction swings in the opposite direction of how I say they will, is that
Sisters did great this week.
Sisters got a buff and they have a 50% win rate. So they're perfectly balanced. They're neither good nor bad.
So if you're playing Sisters, you only have to feel bad because you're losing games because it's your fault now.
Exactly. A coin flip. You're losing a coin flip, and you should feel bad
Yeah.
about it.
And the first coin flip you lost was buying Sisters. And
Yep, that was the first time you lost.
You want just a wee bit of wild speculation, says Worm in the chat. A wee bit of wild speculation. Tyranids are never going to hit the same numbers that Harlequins hit. That's my wee bit of wild speculation.
Tyranids won't hit the same numbers that Harlequin hit in win rate, and they will destroy everything we've ever seen in the other metrics.
And that's probably fair, though.
I have so many tournaments this next 6 weeks.
Yeah, Innis by himself is going to break this. Like,
Yep. We may not even see their win rate. Just like, it'll be really interesting to see, and me and Curie will have to talk about doing this, and so will Cliff, is doing a visualization for that distribution of win rates across players and seeing if it's really just a few really good Tyranid players who are just winning at everything or not. And
It's
if
kind of how it was with the Crusher book, and I don't know if this is actually better than Crusher was. Crusher was pretty freaking good.
Anthony Doubt,
I didn't lose a game with Crusher ever.
I haven't lost a game yet with new Tyranids rules, to be fair, either.
bro, I haven't had a game within 60 yet.
Yeah, it's fine. It's you. You're playing in America.
Yeah, it's an 102% win rate with a 2% margin of error. It's true. Our
Yeah.
standard deviation
Yeah,
will
exactly.
bring.
I'm actually winning 104% of my games.
Yeah.
Well,
I
what
believe
was it?
that.
It was Alex McDougall who said he'd lost one game or tied one game out of like 28 practice matches or something like that. Alex McDougall being one of the foremost Tyranid players in Canada.
You're just
Yeah.
not going to lose at this list, dude. If you
It's
have
been
your head on
really
your
nice
shoulders,
speaking to Tyraniid players, and they're being like, "Yeah, what are you winning with?" And it's all just different. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, so like the lists for ETC are out, and it's like, yeah, Eric Lathris is on 15 Zone Tropes, one of the Aussie WT guys, and it's like, yeah, I think that looks awful. I mean, he thinks it's amazing.
Yep.
Anthony's running nine squad of Warriors, and I'm like, nah, couldn't pay me to run that, but I bet it's great.
It is. It doesn't matter.
True. 9
It's great.
Warriors.
The game is fine. Love it right now.
Take the Tyranid Codex, take out all the datasheet pages, put them against a wall, throw darts, build a list like that, probably still like 80%.
As long as you dodge gaunts.
You can
Even if you hit them. If you don't hit them with every dart, you're probably fine.
You can highlight what Curie just said in chat about Alex's win rate with them so far in practice.
Yeah.
Alex McDougall said he's 28-1-1 with the new book, and his one loss was when he didn't take a Maliceptor, which is, I think, a unit that pretty much everybody is taking.
I'm gonna
No matter their archetype.
Because Anthony said that none of his games have been within 60, right? I'm gonna see what the smallest margin on a game.
My smallest win was 70 points.
I'm not
It's
as
gonna
good
be
as you
sad.
guys, so my smallest win margin was less than 20 points.
68.
Oh.
Oh, okay, yeah. 38 against New Salamanders.
Okay, that's allowed.
Where
That's
they
fine.
went second to just 15 off.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not you're not going to smash everything. And I'm a better player than the people I'm playing, which helps.
Also, 38 is a how many point win in
17-3.
WT? What's that in
17-3.
WTC?
17-3. Which I'd take against
Mhm.
Sally's because that's a 10-10. So
There are places you can find them, Zach. They just might be built out of resin.
we should definitely not be advocating that on the show.
I didn't advocate for it. I just said you could do it.
Definitely not talking about it on the show either.
Just watch
You should have
eBay.
just know what I did and have owned a Malice since 2016. Like,
Yeah. I
what
also
am
did
doing?
get mine on
Why didn't you try
eBay.
that?
Yeah.
You basically have to scour eBay and secondhand markets at this point. I think on eBay, the last time I
get
looked at a
one-
Malice Scepter, it was like $150 is what bidding had gotten to on it. It's a little silly.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you could get a few on Troll Trader when I checked last week. That might be gone for UK people. Check secondhand places and eBay and
Set
Also,
yourself
just check
some search
local. Lots of
verification.
places have them, and people don't
Malice
care.
Scepters are direct order only. So
No, I
they
meant
tend to only be on websites that offer direct order stuff.
no, I meant like your local homies. Like, ask the
Oh,
local
right, yeah.
community you are in. There's probably a Nids player that has one that he does not care about.
Yep. That's how I
Or a
got.
toxic wing. Nobody will know.
I mean, they'll
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, you could just clip off the tentacles. Just clip them off. Nobody will know
Harpy's
the
going for
difference.
150. I'm so glad I bought Harpies the day Crusher Stampede dropped. It's like, yeah.
Funny
Bye.
because Harpies were in stock at GW the week before the book released, and I bought my second one there. And the other one, because I just love to show people this, is a Hive Crone with a Rupture Cannon instead
I
of
love
the
that
Heavy
thing.
Venom Cannon.
I hate it so much.
I love that thing. It's so silly looking.
The only thing I'm
love it.
struggling with Harpies, I don't want to convert them, but I need to find a way to differentiate between which one's Synapse and which one's Dermic. It's like
See,
just
the
put
way
something
that
on
I
the base. I'm so
differentiate it,
lazy.
is the Synapse one has the giant goddamn gun on it.
Yeah, there you go.
It's more like voracious ammunition to me.
Yeah.
I mean, you do it the way that you want to do it for that game that you want to do it, right?
Yeah. Anyway, basically, it's really one big thing. Tyranids are really hard to get a hold of right now because everything's really hard to get a hold of right now.
Also true.
And Tyranids have been good for a while. So if you're just jumping on the bandwagon now, all the stuff that's good in the new codex, except like Carnifexes, was good in Crusher Stampede.
Yeah.
Which means it's probably gone and has been for a while. So yeah, it's quite difficult to get a hold of Tyranids right now. I've only been able to get a hold of like Warriors, really easy to get a hold of. That's about it in the UK. Everything else is even in the UK, it's been a pain. I can't get Paravors. I can't get. So trying to get another Malice Center because I only.
Isn't there something that converts to a pyrovore fairly easily? I remember someone talking
You
about
could
it
probably
the
do
other day.
biovores, and you could probably lengthen the cannon to make them.
Yeah, but Biovores are also impossible to get a hold of.
Yeah, I think it was. I saw someone convert like a Tyrant Guard or something to it. I don't remember exactly.
You can do things like Tyrant Guard aren't cheap.
They're not.
There's definitely things you can do. Like Tyranids are a very converter friendly army because everything is biological. You just stick green stuff balls on it until it looks normal.
Yeah.
There are some third party, like really nice third party Tyranids made from custom 3D printed sculpts that you could always use in the meantime. Etsy has some of the different brands that you can get, and some of them have pyrovores and a few other things if you just need some until you can get through. Like there's one person who makes
play with your army.
Yeah, if you want to be able to play with your minis and play with the army that you want, like somebody put up an article today with an army list suggesting like 9 or 10 pyrovores.
Yeah, it was Lenin's eight pyrovore crack.
Yeah, and I was like, where are you going to find 8 pyrovores, and how much money are you going?
That's 240 Great British pounds.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
$300 and something
on fine cast,
or like $1 million in Australia.
Yeah,
it's like a mortgage.
Yeah.
You take out the second mortgage on your house in Australia to afford them, yeah.
to buy like a kind of okay Tyranid unit.
Yeah.
From a shady guy on a pier at that point as well.
I do like the Pyrovore model, but I really, really just want them to make a Pyrovore and Biovore plastic kit. Like, jeez.
You got all the releases you're ever gonna get, dude. I hope you're happy with the
Parasite. Hey, I got the one Parasite of Mortrex that I'm not even running. Because it's like,
all right.
I really wish it was just like a special character and like 10, like 30 points more expensive. It'd be so much more interesting if it was a special character.
That's a good question.
Do we? Oh yeah. Maliceptors.
Eldar. Hail of Doom. Get it off. Get it gone.
It's Maliceptors.
I don't want to have any competition.
I mean, as much as Innis tried to shout down that question, it's Maliceptors who need to have mortal wounds made into line of sight, and perhaps maybe only once per face.
I think you
Oh,
could
I
do
mean,
either.
Yeah.
do you want my list of Tyranid nerfs? Like we can
Yeah, we
start at the
could let's
top.
do it. Let's
Yeah,
start at the
go
top
for
of
it.
your list
Let's
of
do this, and then
nerfs.
we'll go into the stuff. Okay, I want to say 5, but there might be one more that's sitting in my head somewhere that I'm gonna remember as I say
It
things.
rattles around in the back.
Maliceptor requires line of sight. Harpies plus 30 points. Aircraft cannot have adaptive physiologies. Warriors plus 2. Dual bone swords plus 5.
Okay.
Because the dual bone swords is the broken thing. Everything else is fine.
Okay.
Hive tyrants just plus 20 on each chassis. And encircle the prey requires you to not be in combat.
And you think that does it?
I think that brings us to a point where we can start talking about other problems, but we'll be playing whack-a-mole for a while with this book.
Yeah, this is...
And then like you just fix all the stuff that's like ridiculously doesn't work, like Tyranids appearing outside 9 and Zoanthropes not having synapse and just stuff like that. We just assume all that gets fixed in the same ways.
I've been referring to Tyranids as the Drukhari of 2022. Like, that's exactly what it is. Like, it's going to be like, oh, we got this build, but what about that one? Oh, shit, like over here, let me grab that build. Oh, there's another one under here. Like, it's going to be like that for months.
Your changes in it actually aren't that different from the ones that I think need to happen. I mostly just thought that you would just do 5 points on bone swords since that punishes the build that everybody wants anyways.
I think what I would actually like to do with the Tyranid Warriors is just say that their unit costs 100 points and that you can only take 3, 6, or 9 and just put them 100, 200, 300 for the set. And then like let the weapons be fine, but I don't think they're going to print it that you can't take like 5.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially because they do the Tyranid Prime as a separate one, and they're probably not going to do like 34, 33, 33 for the points on the models.
Right.
So like put them plus 2 and then put 5 on the best weapon, and then like go from there. I'd probably make adrenal gland scale per model in the squad and just make them flat 5 per guy.
That's actually not true, Zach the Bird. One of the most useful ways to use Encircle the Prey is when you don't kill something, or if you fail to get somewhere that you need to get to, and you need to get the hell out.
Or you walked onto an objective for Stranglehold and decided you want to, and you tagged something with your guy, and then you leave afterwards.
Yes, those are all useful ways to use Encircle the Prey that won't get addressed unless you make it. So
I don't think the Maliceptor needs to be 2-1-0 on its table. Say, like I don't think the 3 mortal wounds is the problem, because if it required line of sight, it would at least require positioning. As it is, it's just fire and forget. And there is a reasonable degree that a 170 point model that is kind of crap in combat should get to do a lot of its one thing, which is dealing a good amount of damage. It just needs to have to actually try.
I think they also need to clarify that psychic actions take a cast or not.
Yeah,
like they need to clarify it.
That into the things that are fixed by FAQs. Like
I've just been playing it as it is, and if you're playing it as they're not, you're kind of a jerk. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's already ridiculous, and like, calm down.
It does not need to cast
4 times.
4 times a turn. Yeah,
that's how we ruled it for the RTT over the weekend. Just because I didn't want to, because raw. That's how it works.
If you're playing it in enraged reserves, the double bracketing thing does not affect that ability. If it's taking damage down, it is not a characteristic. That just stays degraded. Even if you're using the Lark biomorphology, where you double your wounds for bracketing, does not affect.
And the other thing that I want to talk about very briefly is just Harpies being insanely OP on Tactical Tortoise. So like TTS has like its own meta of sorts, in part because of like the way the terrain works in it. And some people allow Harpies and like big flyers like that to clip terrain, and that's not how they work in real life.
My general gut on Harpies should be that if you take them, they should be to the last over Tyrants by like 5 points.
That's
so whatever. Like if you take one with Dermic, it should be like 5 points more than a Tyrant is. And I think Tyrants need to go up about 20, which would put a base flyer at 225. So I think like 30 points. Maybe 35, because that would put a Dermic Harpy at 220, and then you'd have to like take Toxin Sacks, which actually weakens Reaper, that kind of thing. That's kind of roughly where I'd be aiming for that.
Yep.
Because I think to the last is kind of too easy to build into Nizzles at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hate to see the Maliceptor to be unplayable. I think it's a genuinely really cool and interesting piece. I like that it's got cool defensive options. I like that it does a lot of damage if you get close to it. I just don't like that it's sling it forward and just dunk mortal wounds behind a wall onto
I
something.
think it just required line of. I am always the worst at these because I want things to stay really powerful in general. But like, I just think if it required line of sight, it would probably be fine. Like,
Yeah.
I hate that it can just like, especially in GW terrain, it's just like, all right, so I'm near the middle. You can't touch the middle objective ever, or
It's
you're
actually
dead.
one of the nicer things with the WC terrain is that all of the big L's are 5 inches deep, and Maliceptors at their thinnest are way wider, and they cannot hide very well, which has
Right.
actually been really nice.
Mhm.
They can kind of like super hide, but if you try to do that, then they're not going to get into range of stuff. And
Right.
if
Then
that
you're
actually
doing
punished
nothing.
them by not being able to smite beyond that, it would actually hurt them. As it is now, you're just like, okay, fine, I'll just sit here and be completely useless, but also you're dead. So
Is this true?
uh, no, you have to have a successful. I believe when you successfully wound, and automatically wounding isn't successfully wounding. It's some weird nuance on that. I will have a quick look.
That's fair.
Look, we can
Um,
talk about it after we go through tournament
yeah,
coverage
let's
as
do it.
I mean,
well.
we
Right,
can do
let's
that in
do
order.
tournaments.
Cool.
Shall we start with the good one, the big one? Sorry, good one because it was a UK tournament. Let us start with the Bristol GT. So this was one of the UKTC super majors. So the guys that run LGT and International Team Tournament and all those sort of ones. So this was in the standard format that they use. So it is 5 rounds, and then the top 4 players after Swiss will play a sixth, and then the top 2 will play a seventh round. Which means that if there are more than 4 undefeateds, the cut will be there, and it's done on battle points for the cut. So what that means for this one is that there was 5 undefeateds, and one of them, thankfully, who was a guy who had to go home, Liam Calabut, who was playing an absolute king list of Keepers of Secrets, Mortarion, and 2 Flawless Souls Disco Lords, which I think is just absolutely peak. So yeah, he had to go home anyway, so the fact that he missed the top cut on points was not too big a deal. So the top 4 at this event was, going to do this one off the top of my head, Vic VJ, Conrad Berkowitz, Marcus Hinson, and Doug Jones. Jones, I think it was Jones. Daniel Toombs. No, not even close.
Not
Sorry,
even
Daniel.
almost.
Not even like the right first letter.
Yeah.
So yeah, Vic VJ, Daniel Toombs, Conrad Berkowitz, and Marcus Hinson, which was Eldar, Tau, Eldar, and Eldar. That was your top 4. And then Liam Calabut rounded out the 5 and O's with his Chaos list. That is the top 5 in order. So we're going to start at the top with Vic VJ's list. Vic VJ, who is one of the Dice Down guys, a fantastic guy, wonderful player, was playing a Hail of Doom Eldar list. This has, stop me if you've heard this. It's Hail of Doom, masterful shots, so ignore cover. Definitely seeing a much more use case in a meta where we're seeing things like Alex Harrison on 30 Scarabcle Terminators. Uh, terrifying. You didn't realize they had Obsec until like game 3 as well. That was scary. He was winning too. Yeah, I know, right? Okay, we have Baharoth, and nothing else matters. No, 2x10 Dire Avengers with extra Shuriken Cannon on the Exarch, 2x10 Swooping Hawks, 3x6 Shuriken Catapult Wind Riders, and 3 Shining Spears with Heart Strike and Kane's Lance on the Shining Spear Exarch. I'm going to ask another player to tell me what that does in a second.
Yep.
Then we have 3 Warlock Skyrunners with Seer Council, a Farseer Skyrunner with Mark of the Incomparable Hunter and Kurnos' Bow, which is the
You
I
know
do 6
that
more
one.
wounds. Hey, 6 more wounds. Woo, 6 more wounds. Ooh, 6 more
Woo.
wounds. Ooh, 6. Just take damage. Take damage. And then a Falshu's Wing Farseer, 5 Rangers, 6 more Dire Avengers, a 5 of Howling Banshees with Piercing Strikes and Crone Scream, 2 Vipers with Scatter Laser, and a Wave Serpent. So that is just so much Shuriken.
Yeah.
Is so much Shuriken.
Kane's Lance, as an aside, is an aspect shrine relic. So you probably use the stratagem to get 2 and just pick it. But it's on a, you roll a 4 up when you get into engagement range after a charge, and on a 4 up, your enemy
It's the
the enemy
fight
unit
last one.
takes D3 mortals and fights last.
And which one is Heartstrike for the Exarch power?
It's reroll all the things.
Yep.
No, that's the Paragon Saber. It's 6's mortal wounds.
That's what it
Cool.
is.
6's wound, do a mortal wound.
So it's just another squad of bikes with a bit of combat control. That's fine.
Yep.
And then the Howling Banshee Exarch with mortal wounds and more damage on her attacks, I
Yeah,
believe.
piercing strike is plus 1 damage. Yeah. So
Plus
she
one
probably has
damage.
mirror swords.
Yeah, she does.
So like
Yep.
12 damage to attacks then.
Yeah, so you're looking at 26 Dire Avengers with Hail of Doom and also 18 Shuriken bikes, which is another 72. So it's 66 plus another 21 is 70. It's like 150 Shuriken catapult shots a turn.
So 2
Yep.
Carnifexes.
Yep.
2 Carnifexes a turn.
It's more than that, isn't it?
No, hail is different math, Nathan.
Oh, you're right. That's
Yeah,
true.
Hail is like disgustingly different math. It's like
Oh no.
it's
Hail
like
is 6's
two
auto wound, right?
previously in like the 8th edition lists for when I was playing against Hail of Doom lists, 26 Dire Avengers is like 2 Demas a turn.
Mm.
So like
Is
that's
it?
the rough. Yeah, like with their
If
With
one of them gets
guide.
a double shoot, maybe.
which they generally get to, or they can like guide doom. Like there are ways.
Use
Yeah.
guide and doom and then maybe kill one with an Eldritch Storm or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or one dies to an errant smite, or the really annoying thing used to be they would walk into your spore mines that you couldn't choose not to drop. that got old like the second time it happened.
I love it.
Really annoying.
Yeah.
So you just thought just like I'm not bombing anywhere near Dire Avengers at this point. So yeah, this is just a disgusting amount of firepower, right? It's
Yeah.
got 2 squads. So as a quick note, the to the last in this list, Anthony's favorite secondary are Baharoth and 2 squads of 10 swooping hawks,
Yep.
which are not dying.
Yeah.
Against 90% of the list in the game, you are not killing 20 swooping hawks and Baharoth. They will never be interactable while you are dealing with the Dire Avengers and all of the bikes in your face. You do not have time to deal with them, unfortunately. They will
I wouldn't
move
even
out,
make
they will
fun of the
shoot,
swooping
they
hawks
will
anymore because there's no more indirect.
yeah, exactly. You just can't. You don't have time to kill them.
Yep.
You've got to get like you might kill a few here and there, but killing the full squad in one go is just completely unviable for 90% of the game at the moment. And I would honestly describe it as a problem. But you know. So yeah, thoughts on this?
I think it's really good. One of my buddies locally plays Eldar, and I'm trying to get him onto a variation of this as he just doesn't own that many swooping hawks. So yeah, he's looking for a list that he can just pick up and run with for like game after game after game, and finally get some. You know, he feels like he's got a solid list that he can rep out that isn't like Ulthway or something because he's been looking for a Hella Doom list for a little bit. I think this is it. I think this is the way you do it.
Yep.
As a note, there were 3 Eldar players and 40 swooping hawks in the top 4 at Bristol.
Yeah,
Makes
that unit's not getting looked at. Bet.
No, I don't see that. I don't see that happening. Games Workshop would never look at a problem unit if it was doing things in the UK but not the US, would they? That's that's not a thing they do.
Never happens.
Okay, in second place we have the only different list of the tournament of the top 4. We have Daniel Toombs, also known as Doug to me.
Doug Jones, yeah.
We have Farsight Enclaves, actual Farsight Enclaves as well. So get ready
What?
get ready to hear about crisis suits, my friends.
Yeah.
We have got a Commander in Cold Star Battlesuit with stuff.
Yeah, Tau things.
Master the Killing Blow, which I believe is Ignore Feel No Pains. With the Nova Sarge Plasma Rifle, which is the plasma gun that ignores invulnerable save.
Invulnerable save.
So
Bang.
that guy just like hit wound dead.
Yeah.
You just take your thing off. As well as the solid damage projection unit, which gives him a 4 invulnerable save. We have a Commander in Crisis Suit with Exemplar of the Monka and the Bagel Hunter Plate, which gives him a 2-up armor save and a 5-up field no pain. And the DW02 Advanced Burst Cannon, which is the burst cannon that ignores field no pains.
Damage limiters, damage reduction.
Damage limiters and field no pains. Yep.
It's your Phoenix Lord Hunter.
Yeah, this guy was like,
He's got 2. He's had enough.
yeah. No Nova Surge Plasma Rifle and any single wound through is just dead Baharoth, right?
Yeah.
You just do the plasma gun second.
Yep.
So yeah, he is the I am sick and tired of Baharoth. We have 3 Breacher teams, not too upset by the Monka changes, which does limit their ability to get lots of AP quite a little bit. We have a 375 point squad of Crisis. Yeah, we have Cyclic Ion Blaster, Missile Pod, Plasma Rifle, and Shield Generator on every single one of them. And then also 2 Radiant Battlesuits and Stim Injectors.
That unit is not dying.
That is a
That's
6-man squad. Yep.
that's a man that's made some choices about what gets to die in his list.
his
He's
choice
like,
his
"This."
choice was whatever I look at.
Yeah.
In pure farsight as well, so you know that's getting drop zone cleared constantly.
Oh, yeah. You don't even have
We
to ask.
we have
That's
another Crisis
gross.
Battlesuit squad with a burst cannon, Sicaran blaster, plasma rifle, and velocity tractor on all three. Two stealth suit teams with homing beacons, just in case one wasn't enough. Now the indirect is like a lot worse. Those guys just don't die either. They get to
Yep.
just sit behind a wall and be there. A full 10-man Pathfinder team with 3 rail rifles. A piranha with 2 gun drones, a piranha with 2 gun drones, a single hammerhead, and a triple devilfish. So this is Devilfish Rush and the mother of all crisis suit bombs.
Yeah.
Yeah, mad respect. He went through some really tough lists to get there. He took down Marcus in the semifinals. Marcus was on Eldar. We'll get to
This
him
is
in
really
just a
good in
second.
Eldar.
Yeah, velocity trackers on like that. Like it's just got so many different profiles. It can split fire however it wants.
Yeah. Well,
The breachers
the
give you a lot of early
Devilfish,
pressure.
yeah, that Devilfish Rush is a real issue for a lot of Eldar lists. They do not deal with, like, everybody's in my face, lots of my stuff is dying, ah!
Yeah, like Dire Avengers are great until like they they have brought the indirect to you. The indirect
Yeah,
is their body being 3 inches away from you.
yeah, they're right there.
Here you are, deal with this. And then like it takes a non-zero amount of effort to kill them back as well.
Yeah,
Which you don't necessarily have if you have just lost 30 Dire Avengers.
yeah.
Okay. In third place for the Bristol GT, we had Conrad Berkowitz, who was playing a mixed Eldar and Harlequins list. We are looking at a Troop Master with stuff. For the future, Player of the Dark, which is the 5s to wound, ignore
Ooh.
saves.
No,
Uh,
Player of the Dark is 5 up 2 and is mortal.
5 to wound is mortal. It just flat does mortals instead of regular damage.
No, no, it does
No,
a
does
mortal in
does
addition.
amoral. Cool.
Yeah.
That's so much sadder. Veiled King and Serax Rose. We have
Couldn't be
3.
Queen Shards?
No, Veiled King. I don't know what that does.
Veiled King is 2 up to wound against vehicle monster.
It's pretty fun. We have 3 troop squads with double fusion pistol and a grab bag of weapons and 3 Star Weavers. So just a very, very aggressive 700 point particles attachment that gives you some good scoring, some good forward pressure options. It's
Yep.
dark, so it doesn't die too easy in combat. And it does if it does go down, it takes you down with it. Then we have Craft World Wu Tang with Hail of Doom and Mobile Fighters.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
Baharoth, the Mark of the Incomparable Hunter, and Kurnos' Bow, Farsha Skyrunner. 2 10s of Dire Avengers, a 3 of Shining Spears with Heartstrike, a 10 of Swooping Hawks, a 9 of Wind Riders with Scatter Lasers, which is
Ah,
something Conrad has been running for a while. Farseer has Guide and Doom for what it's worth in this list. So no Will of Asurion is just relying on those Dire Avengers getting Rod for him with the 3 squads of troops, and then 2 Wave Serpents to give that nice mobile fighters bonus to those Dire Avengers.
yep.
So just again, a lot of very aggressive forward pressure, a lot of shuriken shots, a lot of dump fire, the 54 shots a turn
Yep.
at AP dash, but AP
Doesn't
dash
who
will make you take a lot of
cares?
saves.
Yeah, AP
And
Dash
AP
ignores
dash,
cover.
not a bad place. It ignores cover without. No, he's mobile fighters, not
Oh, he's mobile fighters.
mobile
Okay.
fighters. Yeah, it's just again a lot of damage. And then decent resilient scoring options. The two last in this list are the Baharoth, the 9 of bikes, and the Swooping Hawks again. So also a good to the last list if you are feeling like you're not going to be getting super pressured. And with the general advent of less indirect fire in the game, to the last is becoming a much safer option than it used to be in a lot of matchups. Like Space Marine lists are not going to pressure you enough. They can take you to the last down if you play aggressively around their threat ranges. And that's the kind of thing that you should be thinking about in the current meta. I
Yep.
think that's fair to say. Like, you still you're thinking it's Tau because they'll give up a bunch of no prisoners, but sometimes it's nice to be like, I don't want to go through the Terminator brick. I'll just make them not come through me.
Yep.
Conrad did unfortunately go down to Vic in the semifinals in a bit of a team kill. There was 2 dice down in the top 4, and they played each other in the semifinals.
In the
So I'm
semis.
sure
Yeah,
they,
that's rough.
they were
That's always
definitely
rough.
a little sad about that on their Facebook page, but it did mean that one of them was making the finals guaranteed, so he
Yep.
can't complain too much. And then finally, running at the top 4, we have Marcus Hinson of Glasshammer, who was playing Pure Ulthway. This is a slightly different one. We've got Baharoth, Oh yeah, sorry, I lied about it being different. Uh, we have
Liar.
a first year Skyrunner with the Phoenix Gem, a first year Skyrunner with the Ghost Helm of Alishazir, which definitely sounds like a Magic the Gathering card.
Does
Um, three squads of Rangers with two with Gloom Prisms and one with Wireweave Net. Sure, I know what that means. Um, neither do the Eldar players.
Wire weave nets are when you charge them, you can reduce you do mortal wounds and reduce their charge range.
And the Gloomfield,
Gloomfield is dense
heavy
cover or
cover.
something like that.
I was really hoping it was heavy cover. Uh,
I guess I could look this up instead of just like waxing philosophic about it to make sure that I'm not wrong.
we have a 5 of Dire Avengers, so just risking that rod. We have a 6 of Fire Dragons with a Exarch with Burning Heat, a, a 5 of Fire Dragons with an Exarch with Blazing Fury, both Exarchs having fire pikes, a 6 of Howling Banshees with Mirror Swords and Piercing Strikes on the Sergeant, a 5 of Striking Scorpions with Crushing Blows and Shadow Sting on the Exarch. This is just going for the combat here. We have a 2-man squad of Warlocks, a 5-man of Swooping Hawks, 6-man of Swooping Hawks with the Phoenix Plume for the 5 of Feel No Pain, a 9-man squad of Warp Spiders with Web of Deceit, a Crimson Hunter Exarch,
Oh dang.
and a Wave Serpent.
Just a little bit of everything at the end
Yeah,
there.
so Marcus
Yeah, it was
went for
weird.
the grab bag, almost Highlander list with double Fire Dragon and double Farseer. Power to him. Went through this list went through everything except Daniel Toombs' Tau Empire. Yeah, thoughts on that one, guys, or thoughts on those two, I guess.
The Exarch's a interesting choice, the Crimson Hunter.
It does give you access to the what is it, the Fury of Cain secondary, where you like get points for killing things with aspect stuff.
I mean, he had a whole bunch of
Got a
aspects. He could
lot of
take
options.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Come on,
just
you guys are
always
the other players. I know nothing about this list. This is
I,
just soup words to me.
and Crimson Hunter Exarch seems so expensive. So that's like the only thing that I kind of question slightly, but they're fine as really fast moving, possibly character assassinating units now that the bodyguard rule has changed.
Oh, and it has a swooping evasion, which I think is an invulnerable save.
Yeah, that's the one that gives it an invuln save.
And
They
it
have
is
a
a
really
+1 wound. Like it's not bad.
No, it's not
they have
bad.
a really funny Exarch power that's like auto hit fly things, which is hysterical.
Yeah, but you have to take that in place of swooping invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But if you
you
go
want that.
second, you're dead anyway, so whatever.
True.
Cool. So yeah, that is the. I'll quickly touch on the broad strokes of Leon Calibut's list because it is probably my favorite list of the weekend. Bellicor, 2 keepers, 30 demonettes, Mortarion, 2 Lord Discordants with Bellflamers, and a squad of Kiss.
Who was the warlord?
It
Oh, it
has
had
to
to
be
be
Bellicor
Mortarion.
because it has to be Mortarion, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I want anyway because that's how he gets the Feel No Pain. So
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is he's probably the warlord there. The disco warlord is always so fun though.
yeah, but you're already getting double exploding sixes now against everything. You're not
Yeah.
relying on the warlord trait to get it against regular things now.
Yeah, but you could
Um,
have 1/6 be 5 additional attacks.
it'd still be 4, wouldn't it?
No, it's death, flawless, and then the warlord trait gives you 3.
The warlord trait makes the flawless 3 instead of 1.
No, it adds 3.
Was that? I thought it made it 3.
I'm pretty sure it adds 3. It's been a
Doesn't matter.
long time, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it doesn't matter. And then you could technically also use the Slanesh exploding aura stratagem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But since
Why
the
not?
scholars were last big in the meta, we have seen the change to Death of the False Emperor, where it's now just on a 6+ against everything. It becomes an additional automatic hit instead of becoming a hit roll. And that is still 6+, so it's still modified. So the scholars still give themselves a native on that on a 5+. So they are generally a little punchier than they used to be. So they get exploding on 5. They get an extra hit on 5s
Yep.
and an extra attack on 5s now against everything. Whereas before it was 5s against Imperium only, and then 5s against everything, and then
Yep.
the Warlord should give you more. But now they're just a little punchier without it. You don't need to go as deep into it, and you
They
can
also
afford to
don't
do something like running Advance and Charge, Bellicor, and Mortarion with it.
they also don't instantly die now because they have armor contempt, which helps.
Yeah, exactly. They're a 1-up armor save. 1-up armor save.
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories from this weekend came from Liam playing against Alex Harrison and turn 1 charging a squad of Scarab Cult Terminators with the Keeper's Secrets and killing 8. which I just think is phenomenal, powerful energy.
That's so many.
Right?
That's
It's
so
only
many.
AP3.
Yeah, that's so many more than I would expect.
That's just an
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah, it's
conversion.
like 10 attacks, all probably all hit, all wound, and failed 8 out of 10 4-ups or something like that.
Yeah.
That seems like about the math on that.
Oh,
Unfortunately, we have just lost Nathan, so we will be continuing down the line with Radicalism. Anthony, would you like to pull up the Radicalism list for me?
yeah. Yes, babble at chat while I do that.
Okay, I'm going to continue babbling at chat. I'm going to look up that Reaper of Bloodrax thing because I care. And while we wait for Nathan, who our editor will love resyncing this.
Oh yeah, this always makes the
Yeah, this
editor
always
sad.
makes things a little bit difficult.
He's back.
He's back, and we tried not to speak too much while he was gone. Each time an attacker is made with this weapon, if that attack successfully wounds the target.
Yeah, I would think that would work then.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like it might, but I wouldn't be confident enough on it to say that it definitely does.
I really
That's
just
fair.
feel bad for our editor who's going to see there's a break in the audio again because I had a technical issue.
Yeah, we've
Yep.
already called it out. It's okay.
Yeah.
If we lambast it, it's lampshading instead of a technical issue.
Oh,
There you go.
thanks. That's good. That's good to know.
All right,
Yeah.
I've got the things. Radicalism 2022
Radicalism.
down under.
There were 2 5-0 lists from Radicalism, so we're going to run through both of those.
There was
and then
just
we
play
will
6
fast forward.
rounds, you nerds. So first one, Adam Napier. That's how I'm gonna say his name. I don't know if it's right. He played
Nah, it's
Tau.
Napier, yeah.
He played Pausept. Weird. He played a commander in a Cold Star battlesuit, so that's the fast man. He had the precision of the hunter for reroll stuff. He had the forget your feel no pain advanced burst cannon, another burst cannon, the Onager gauntlet, and 2 plasma rifles. What a hero. Oh, there's probably one too many burst cannons. I think one just replaces the other. So he had 2 marker lights. He had the ethereal with all the stuff that we've known to come and love. He had long strike. Yeah. Breacher team, carnivores, big crisis squad, still taking the air bursting fragmentation launcher, which is
They're still
interesting.
okay.
It's because you can poke a drone. You poke a drone out.
I guess that works. Airburst double flamer squad. Spooky. Don't charge them. Then another crisis squad with cyclic, and then a flamer and a shield gen, and then another crisis squad. Another crisis squad with early
Another
warning
crisis.
override. Missile pod, and 2 plasma rifles. Unit of Vespid, a single devilfish, and Shadow Sun. Cool. Turns out crisis are still absolutely nuts at even with the changes because they didn't get directly nerfed at all.
Are you trying to tell me that because you nerf all of the diversity in the Tau book, everybody goes to the 1 or 2 good things that are left in the Tau book?
Especially when Richard Siegler says it.
Oh no. Don't. Not on air, dude. I can't. I'm not strong enough. All right. So moving on.
You just poke a freaking drone out and you bypass all of the problems with ignoring line of sight because I mean, you ignore the 2 penalties because the drone
You still have to
unit.
be like, if they're behind a wall, that doesn't help you. That's
Right.
the like.
Yeah, you can stay behind a wall.
Yes, you can stay behind a wall.
It's
and
still
see
just
somebody.
fine defensively. Offensively, it's much weaker.
Yeah.
Yes. The next list is actually one of my favorites because it's Emperor's Children and it went
Yes,
5
this
and
is
0.
Dean Sinbeck, who is, I believe, the guy from Blood from the Blood God.
Yeah.
Blog for the Blood God on Facebook. So you can probably read about this more there if you're interested.
Mono Emperor's Children, baby. Master of Executions with Flame of Spite and Raiment Revulsive, so he disguises full rolls to hit and wound, and does mortals when he whacks you.
And then does more mortals when he whacks you, and then gets to make more attacks when he kills stuff because it's Emperor's Children.
Yep. Master of Possession with Cursed Earth and Infernal Power. Lord Discordant with Intoxicating Elixir, so he has +1 strength and attack. 10 Cultist, 5 CSM. Man, that CSM squad is awfully close in price to that 10 Cultist squad. That is so funny. 10 Noise Marines with all Sonic Blasters, 2 Blast Masters, and the champion has the Sonic Blaster and a Lightning Claw. They have the Icon of Excess. 7 Terminators with Combi Melta Lightning Claw, Icon of Excess. 6 Bolter Terminators with Combi Bolter Lightning Claw, Icon of Excess. 3 Decimators with Soul Burners. 8 Chosen with 3 with Bolter and Claw, 4 with Chainsword and Lightning Claw, champion with chainsword, lightning claw, and an icon of excess, and a single dread claw, and a rhino. List.
Lots of mortal
Murder.
wounds. You shoot those decimators at things like carnifexes and they die.
That's true.
Shoot
You
the
shoot
things
it-
that, like, anything with a wound count sub Mortarian and they die.
Yep.
Yeah, decimators
And
be slaying stuff.
anything without a feel no pain or a way to prevent rerolls, essentially, I
We
suppose.
we definitely saw a lot more lists this weekend, like the Iron Warriors build as well, with whether it's Lords of Skulls or Decimators, just embarking on the trip of I would like to reroll the sixes. I would like to have the exploding sixes, please.
Yep.
And then Decimators just go.
Bang. Yeah.
They are still they are still fragile for the points cost. They are still
They're definitely
fairly
overcosted.
short ranged, but they they do some good work. I'm
Yeah, for
still
sure.
very impressed with Decimators.
If you get
Uh,
to pick your engagement, right?
Yeah, exactly. They're 24 inch range. They can advance and chart. They can advance and shoot. But yeah, they are 180 points. They're still only 3 up armor save, even ignoring the first point of AP. They will, and they're not dreadnoughts. So they don't take the -1 damage. They
Sure.
definitely go away to concentrated fire.
Yep.
But if you can leverage them with a lot of aggressive advanced pressure, like an Emperor's Children list can provide with, for example, turn one of the Prince charges to hold up anything that could threaten your decimators, you can definitely leverage them to control firing lanes.
Yep.
No,
For
well
sure.
played to both Adam and Dean for smashing out the park at Radicalism in Australia, leading the way on cool meta stuff as always. Okay,
Yes,
what do
sir.
we have up next? As I
Up
frantically
next
return to
is
notes.
Crusher Stampede Leviathan, piloted by Josh Pope.
Is the what's the event name for the people at home?
Oh, we're still on Radicalism, I thought. Are we not doing the top four? Then we'll
Oh,
pass on.
yeah. Quickly touch on the top four. Yeah.
So
Oh,
there
so
was
then the other two are just Josh Pope and Josh Engelke. Pope is playing Crusher Stampede. Engelke is playing Crusher Stampede.
Are
There you
they?
go.
And they're both old codex, right?
Yep.
Both old Codex stuff, so we won't need to talk about them that much because they're
Yeah.
both also using the Leviathan supplement.
Yeah. So they're both mega illegal. Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Mega illegal now. Sorry, not to disparage.
We can talk about Donavar next, I guess, since I have it open.
Sure. Let's do Dawn of War. So this was the Norwegian event, I believe.
Yep. And this was won by Rasmus Volland Fredrickson, who was playing Tau, whose list I will open real fast because I didn't have it open before. He was
He just
playing.
said he had it open. He was lying to us.
Well, I had the placings open. I didn't have all the lists open.
Yeah.
They used a Swiss pairing system, so it screwed up the rankings at first. So then I had to fix it. But he was playing a Tau Sept, commander in a Cold Star battlesuit, Precision of the Hunter, Onager Gauntlet, 2 plasma rifles, a shield generator, a flamer, and the special flamer projector relic, or not relic, but prototype system. So rerolling all hits and wounds, going into a lot of things with a very punchy guy. Like, I think some people have been calling him the one punch commander or something like that. And then an ethereal with humble stave, marker lights, and then long strike, which is kind of different. Breacher, 2 carnivore squads, huge squad of battle suits with a burst cannon, shield generator, and double flamers on all of them except 2 of them with iridiums, and then 1 with stim injectors. 4 shield drones, second crisis battlesuit unit with missile pod, double plasma rifle velocity trackers, 1 with an iridium. 2 squads of Crute Hounds to do Crute Hound stuff, hammerhead gunships, 2 of them, 1 Devilfish, and then Shadow Sun. Because you got to round up the list with something to provide all your stuff with lots of rerolls. Funsies.
She's quite good at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
tons of them, in fact.
In fact, bundles and bundles of rerolls.
Yeah. I don't think tile lists are like mono builded, but it does feel like it when you're reading them.
They're real similar.
Yeah. There's a lot of very interesting and nuanced ways you can make a crisis suit list do very different things, and I don't care.
I mean, that's
Yep.
fair. It's like where we were at with reading a lot of lists, I think, beforehand as well, because they've just, at least I would love to see a triple storm surge list to be like, look at this crazy lad bring in 3 hyper undercosted knights, but it's all Tausep stuff with basically the 3 same commander outlays. And then the only thing that's different is maybe I take only 1 plasma rifle and 2 of this other weapon system instead of 2 plasma rifles.
Yeah, I think we'll probably start seeing a bit more diversity from them. I think there's a few like the plasma build being fixed.
Yeah.
Might see We might see some more options there. I think the Field of Painting against Mortal Wounds custom set might have a bit more
Mhm.
play now. There's definitely a lot of ways we could see Tau go, but right now it feels like Farsight, Enclaves, Farsight Enclave Successors, or Tau, and just pick your favorite Crisis build and then add your support of choice. Maybe
Yep.
you want Long Strike, maybe you want Shadow Sun. Like, there's definitely things that, like, Tau lists are all different. Like, we're not seeing people just play the same Tau list, copy pasted.
Right.
Every Tau player has their own individual style on it, but every single one of them looks, feels, and plays exactly the same. And, like, from my non Tau playing
Yeah,
perspective,
from the opponent's point
It
of view, they're all very similar. You hit their bricks with your stuff until their bricks are gone.
or your
mhm.
bricks are gone. Yeah.
Right.
The Grey Knights list that took second place, though, is kind of interesting because I don't think it has any, baby carriers in it.
That's common now,
I've
from what I've
looked
been
at
seeing
it
from people list writing.
I've looked at it a lot, and I've just never seen a list written without it. It's good to know that's kind of where it's going, though, because this list instead has 3 strike squads, Kaldor,
Yep.
Brotherhood Chaplain, an Apothecary, 1 Paladin squad, a Purifier squad, 2 squads of Servitors, which I assume are there to hold objectives and do objective things, and then 2 Interceptor squads.
Oh,
Yep.
and for clarity, 2 of those strike squads are 10 mans, and both of those interceptor squads are 10 mans.
Counting in
Uh,
the paladins.
Yes.
and this
Yep.
was 5. This was Christopher Jacobson,
Yep.
playing Grey Knights. This list is playing. Jesus, please stop
It's
scrolling.
Rapiers,
Rapiers. There we go. So
and then
Rapiers
the
gives you access to psychic power for +1 attack, and the stratagem is exploding sixes. Rapiers is and very very good.
Yep. The chaplain has Gate of Infinity, Unyielding Anvil, Refrain of Convergence, the Cuirass of Sacrifice, and Shield of Humanity stuff. And then
Curious to
Keldor's regular.
sacrifice +1 armor save and 5 at Film of Pain. That chaplain's rocking at 0 up.
Yeah, that chaplain is not dying and is going to continue to buff things forever.
Unyielding Anvil gives you Obsec. Refrain of Convergence is a litany that does something. I actually
Stuff.
don't know off the top of my head.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Um,
Keldor is just there doing Keldor stuff. He's the warlord. He has Demon Slayer, Empiric Amplification, Sanctuary, and Vortex of Doom.
+1 damage, 4 up invulnerable save, more wounds damage, and then Demon Slayer gives him ignore demons and vulnerable saves and +1 attack.
Always love that one. Makes me
Just
laugh.
for funsies.
This is definitely oh, and there's also the apothecary in there with a noble death for a second Obsec bubble.
And he's got Warp Shaping to change tides.
Oh, that Purifier squad's a 10 man as well.
Yeah, this is
Oh
different. I
yeah.
haven't seen Purifiers taken in a while. And then also Paladins. Paladins are probably a beneficiary of that Armor of Contempt buff.
Yeah, Armor of Resilience allows them to rock as a functional -1 up saving cover. So
Oh,
yeah,
you know.
props to you, Christopher, for Christopher came second there with a loss in round 5. The remainder of the top 4 for Dawn 4 were Arivello on triple regular Hellbrute and 10 Scarabocult Terminators, Thousand Suns.
Yep.
Refrain of convergence prevents you from being the target of spells.
Cool.
Oh, that's what it is. There you go.
And then, oh no, if you're looking at the BCP for Dawn of Var, the Var has a accent of some kind. It's a little circle above the A.
Knitting, I believe is what I think is how you say it. Knitting?
Yeah, I'm looking at the first name.
Oh, Ada Verlo?
No, for 4th place.
Oh, Svenung Knitting? I don't know.
Cool, I'm glad you said it. Who was playing?
If I mispronounce it, everybody expects it. That's what the American thing to do is just to mispronounce things.
I believe this is new Tyranids. We are
It,
looking
it
at
is new Tyranids because
new
of the
Tyranids.
Hive Predator and rarefied
Yeah,
enhancements. Are
we've
the
got a
new
Tyrannid
strategy.
Prime, a Neurothrope, a Tyrannid Prime with direct guidance, a Neurothrope with synaptic tendrils, a Winged Hive Tyrant with Reaper for Blitzrax and perfectly adapted. Perfectly adapted, I can go either way. I generally prefer alien biology. Do you?
Toxin Sacs on it is the thing that confuses me because Toxin Sacs prevents you from getting the mortal wounds.
We were just talking about that. We're not sure. We have a 9-man warrior squad with Death Spitter and dual bone swords and 3 venom cannons, also adrenaline and flesh hooks. A Maliceptor with standard stuff, a Zoanthrope squad, 2 harpies, 1 with synaptic enhancement, and then we have a second Hive Tyrant with heavy venom cannon and lash whip bone sword. No adrenal glands on that Hive Tyrant, notably, and shard gullet, notably no warlord trait. No adrenal glands, so it's actually not. He doesn't. I actually don't love that. Not getting access to the +1 movement and the D3 attack stratagem is
That
sad.
walk That
This
Walker
is
build makes me sad. Like the relic makes me upset. The
Yeah, I know.
Napier
Shard
command
Gullet
makes
just.
me
I'm like,
angry.
nah, you so don't need Shard Gullet.
this is
Just
this
damage 4 is good enough. You don't need to mastercraft it.
this is where I would actually just have put Toxin Sacks. So if you're like really gonna lean into Shard Gullet, you can at least pop the Toxin Sacks reroll ranged attacks thing.
Is
If
the
you
reroll is
wanted
that
to.
not?
It's for Venom Sacks and it's at range weapons only.
Ugh.
Ugh.
Look,
We have another
I
4 of
didn't say
Tyranid
it was
Warriors.
good. I just said you could do it.
We have another 4 of Tyranid Warriors. We have a 3 of Venom Thropes with Toxin Sacks, 3 of Raveners with Desperators and Rending Claws, and a Tyrannifex with Voracious Ammunition. So this is new Tyranids. This is definitely a build you can play. It's double Tyrant, double Harpy, single Maliceptor, single Zone Thropes, and then a big brick of Warriors to put all your buffs on. Thoughts?
It's interesting.
Got
I
a little bit
don't.
of everything.
It's real. I got a new Codexy. That's how it feels. It's like, let's try a whole bunch of this stuff and see how it goes.
Yeah, the Tyranid Prime is interesting, and I don't know if I mean that in a good way. That Warrior Squad is like every turn can have exploding 6s to shoot, reroll +1 to hit, reroll 1s to hit, reroll 1s to wound.
What's getting real ones to win from?
The Tyranid Prime.
Oh, he gives them rerolls to wound. Right.
He's a
Yeah,
lieutenant.
Tyranid Prime is lieutenant reroll, and
Yep.
also the link is exploding 6s and shooting.
Gotcha.
This kicks out a lot of shooting for a Tyranid list. Like,
Right.
interesting. Yeah, Shard Gullet is assault, which does mean you don't take the -1 in combat, and you can advance to shoot it. I still don't necessarily know if that's worth it. It just feels such a.
Dude, I've been
Shard
playing
Gullet makes it slightly better at shooting. Maw-claws make you amazing in combat.
Dude, it's so good in melee with Maw Claws. Like that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
That guy has actually been the key to my defeats, like the wins that I've had being as
Blowouts,
wide
yeah.
as they are. Because like you finally kill the flyer in, and then that dude is just like owning mid board for 2 turns. He's killed 2 units. He's got like 8 attacks. It's so bad.
8 plus D3.
I was actually wrong about Pathogenic Slime. Pathogenic Slime is a
Yeah, it's
strategy I
just
was talking about. It
5
just is
auto wound, right?
yeah, it's just auto wounds on 6s,
Ugh.
unmodified. So it's not
It's
actually
so
good.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Okay, and then that is the roundup of the top 4 for Dawn of Var. I believe we have 2 more events to touch on quickly. We have the Renegade Wargaming Spring GT, which is 39 players in, I want to say MN is Minnesota.
It is from Minnesota.
Midwest event.
Oh, you leave us alone, eh?
That was so good.
I'm from Minnesota. I might as well be good at something.
Okay, so we're going to skip this one.
Oh, my soul. It's even from near where I grew up.
Okay, so this was won by, I really hope this is the right weekend. Charlie Andre, does that sound right to everybody?
That sounds right. That sounds like one of the 4 people that win Midwest events.
Renegade Wargaming Spring GT.
Yeah, it's Charlie Andre with Tyranids from Frozen.
Charlie Andre's Tyranids. Yep. This is old codex. No, this is new codex as well. Cool. We have 2 Neurothrope. We have a Neurothrope, a Winged Hive Tyrant with Reaper of Bliterax, no adrenal glands. We have a 10 of Hormagaunts, a 8 brick of Warriors, 9 brick of Warriors with 1 Barbed Strangler.
What?
And dual bone sword, 2 Venom Cannons, and then dual bone swords on everybody. Death Spitters on the rest. 2 3s of Warriors with single Venom Cannon, double Death Spitter and dual bone swords on everybody else. Death Leaper, a Maliceptor, a 3 of Tyrant Guard, 2x3 Venom Thropes, a 3 of Zone Thropes, a Moloch with Synaptic Enhancement.
Hell yeah.
And 2 6s of Raveners with Death Spitters and Rending Claws.
Those are Tyranid units in a reasonable order and fashion. That sounds like some shit that would win.
And this is also Leviathan.
Yeah, it is.
Who'd have thought?
6 Raveners is a really expensive way to get your rod. That's all. Every time I see 6, I'm like, I don't get that. Like,
there's only really one list at this event that I want to talk about, and it's the Iron Warriors list because it makes me so happy.
Let's hear it.
We'll get there though. We'll get there. We got to go.
Jeremiah Petit was playing Custodes. If you're playing Custodes, go and look at these lists. It's a Blade Champion, a Shield Captain, Trajan, 4 squads of the Forge World Pyrethite Spear Custodian Guard.
Oh, nice, dude. That's hilarious. That's like a weird Melta spear.
I don't know what that does.
I think it's like a weird Melta spear.
It is a Melta spear. It is.
We have a Contemptor Achilles, 2 Galatis, a Vexillus Praetor with Vexilla Magnifica, and Obliteratum, the murder grenade.
Best
Oh,
grenade
yeah,
launcher
dude.
ever. I love it.
This guy's awesome. Where? Oh, man.
And then 2 Palace-Craft tanks. Congratulations to Jeremiah Petit for making me happy with looking at customs list, which is
That was
rare.
amazing.
Then we have Ryan Winka. I'm going to go with Winka.
Blanky? I don't know.
Jesus. With a Conjure Fireblade, a Commander and Enforcer with Thermonetronic, 2 Breacher squads, a Crook Carnivore squad, a Strike team, a 315 point squad of Crisis Suits with Cyclic and Double Plasma, and 5 drones, another Crisis team, a small Crisis body team, a Stealth team, Pathfinders, 2 squads of Broadsides with maximum, just 2 squads of 2 with 2 drones each, and then 2 Devilfish. This is playing as Farsight Enclaves regular.
Yep.
No Ethereal, but also no Double Commander. So just playing Farsight Enclaves for the fun of being Farsight.
Just about.
And then rounding out the top 4, we have Cade Smrekik.
Smrekik sounds about
Smrekik?
Smrekik.
Sorry, Cade. Your name is hard to pronounce.
This list is great.
We
That's
have
all.
an Iron Warriors list. So we have a Lord Discordant on Hellstalker with Mark of Porn and Insidium and Iron Without. We have a Master of Possessions with Cursed Earth, Eye of Zinch, which is the relic that gives you +1 to cast on Smite, I think.
I think so.
That's a really, really weird relic to voluntarily take.
But my man is about it.
We have a Chaos Space Marine squad that spent the 5 points for that autocannon.
That's right.
Three
They're
of those.
good. Didn't you read the meta analysis article from Games Workshop? Just take more autocannons.
3 of those. And then we have the rest of the list.
Here it is.
In one super heavy detachment.
Bring it home.
2 Horn Lords of Skulls with Ghost Storm Cannon and Hades Gatling Cannon.
Yes.
And a Greater Brass Scorpion.
This
Yes.
This is a champion right here, bringing the
He
triple.
lost in the final.
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Bring these Armor of Contempt, Lord of Wars, and have fun with it. Why not?
Yeah.
Fuck around
He
and
lost
find out in
Charlie
melee.
Andre's Tyranids in the final. That was the final. Tyranids versus double Lord of Skulls and a Brass Scorpion.
That's Minnesota, baby.
There was a picture floating around that was like turn 1, Brass Scorpion is just in his opponent's deployment zone. Like there is nowhere else to be. Like you know that turn 1, that Master Possession is swapping a power to Warp Time and just going for it.
Can he do that?
Yeah, he's the Zinch caster.
Can you go cross discipline though?
The stratagem is from the base codex, which means that it only references the regular Dark Argus discipline.
Oh, that is
cheeky.
beyond dumb.
You can swap your smite to it.
I just love that somebody brought a Greater Brass Scorpion to an event because the thing is an amazing model and is just seems absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
It's
like
it does natively get a 3d6 charge. Like it does a few things.
And you can ignore modifiers. So that means that Tau person will pop that thing
and you'll go
for -2. And you just go, no. Well, if the breachers try to pop it, you remind them that monsters are not affected by it. Or vehicles. But then if the crisis suits pop it, you say, no, I still get my 3d6 charge at full distance.
Yeah, baby.
It's also nearly immune to
psychic powers. Yeah. Didn't help it against Tyranids.
It's also immune
does not. Yep.
Okay.
It also
Let us finally talk about the Frontier Open. We are going to not do a meta discussion this week because we are running a little bit slow, and we also spent a good bit of time talking about that in the middle. So we're going to finish this out, and then we will do a bit of a wrap up. We have in first place at the Frontier Open GT. This was in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I believe WY is Wyoming, right?
There's enough people in Wyoming to have a tournament.
I know, right?
Isn't that where that Iron
people there
something tournament is or whatever? Iron Halo tournament series is around the Midwest in that area.
I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, this and Minnesota are the same place. Like,
whoa,
don't pay me money to tell you the difference.
They are not the same place.
Dennis, don't listen to him. He's lying. They're the same.
Don't listen to the New Yorker with his elitism.
Okay.
Minnesota and Wyoming are not the same place.
It's the same thing.
Look, man, are they both mid?
Yeah, but one
are they both in the west? Are they both on the west side of the country?
They're actually not. Kinda.
They're Midwest though.
They're in the middle.
They're mid and they're in the west, right?
Look
They're
here,
west of the
you.
East Coast.
Look here. There is a major city in Minnesota.
Major export of both, probably corn.
No, actually, I don't think so. Soybeans.
Major export of Minnesota and Nathan.
Yeah, it's the
Oh,
best thing
wow,
that state's
that's
ever done.
oh, wow. I'm getting compliments that make me mad.
Hey, it wasn't good enough to
Oh,
stay.
Yeah.
you're not wrong.
Okay. Cody Giroux's list from the Frontier Open GT. We have a Cabal of the Black Heart detachment with 4 Slith, a Lamian, and 4 Urgle in a Quarter of the Archon. An Archon with the Ginblade and Splinter Genius for double fight once per game. Also a Huskblade because you have to. And Ancient Evil for the fight last. We have Druzzer with Hatred Eternal, 3 squad of 5 Cavalent Warriors with no upgrades, a squad of Corsair Void Scarred.
That's right,
Hell
baby.
yeah. We get Psychers now. Aboard the Witch ain't shit.
Yeah, that's a bold
A
play.
5 of Incubi and a 5 of Mandrakes. A single Ravager with triple Dark Lance. A single Raider with Disintegrator Cannon. And a Venom with Grizzly Trophies. And then we have the other 1,000 points in the list, which is a Harlequin's Light Detachment with a Shadow Seer with Fog of Dreams, Mirror of Minds, and a Shuriken Pistol. A 5-man troop squad, basically
That's not a
Bearborns.
Drukhari list.
A Solitaire, a 5-man Skyweaver squad, and a 3-man Voidweaver squad.
Oh, I have to go edit the stats.
I'm
No!
so excited that not only was the only event Drukhari one in the Midwest, it was 1,000 points at Clowns.
And it's
Nathan
not a
didn't know.
Drukhari list. And now I'm upset.
And
'cause
Nathan
now I
didn't
have to
catch
go
it.
fucking fix it.
Amazing, dude.
Yeah, it sure is 1,000 points of Harlequins and 1,000 points of Drukhari.
That's a Drukhari list, bro. I bet you that guy took her. He's gone. He's out.
So mad at that. I love it. He's actually just gone to edit the spreadsheet. It's just in the other room. He
Yeah,
just
he's
had
got
to
it
go
on
do
the
it
wall.
now. It's carved into his bathroom mirror.
Yeah, that's right. Excellent display.
Okay. In second place, we had Ben Neal on Prescient Brethren. We have a Chaplain, a Brotherhood Librarian, a Grandmaster, and Nemesis Dread Knight with all of the upgrades. Like, you name an upgrade. This guy is 5 lines of text long. He's got
That's
it.
right, baby.
Even ones that aren't in his codex. Like, this thing's got Dermic Symbiosis.
Dude, that's crazy. I don't even know what that means.
A 10-man strike squad, 2 5-man strike squads, a Brotherhood Apothecary, a Paladin squad of 5, a 2x5 interceptors, and then 2 Nemesis Dread Knights and a Rhino. So this is going a lot heavier on the shooting version of the list. It gets like all the good infantry stuff from Grey Knights that are a lot more resilient now. Tide of Shadows lets them have cover in the open, dense if they're in terrain, and then also Armor Contempt. Generally, a lot harder to shift generic Grey Knights than it was, and they still get decent defensive stats.
I was typing for you to highlight that in chat.
From Will Crookshanks, who is a wonderful fellow in the Scottish community that I'm very much looking forward to getting some games in with. Just wanted to raise, by the way, the Iron Warriors entirely ignore heavy cover, and I'm a bit confused because you guys entirely glossed over that.
This
We
somehow
didn't
is funnier to me. Like, at all? Does Nathan know about heavy cover?
No, Nathan doesn't play on frontline gaming boards, so he's never once interacted with heavy cover, which is frequent on the boards that Anthony plays on.
I have never played at a frontline gaming event, so
Oh,
I
bless you.
cannot say that I've ever encountered whatever
Heavy
that
cover.
arrangement is. Yeah.
I have never once in my life played a game on heavy cover, but Anthony insists to me that it's something that you have to be thinking about in games.
Let's wrap up this Midwest event and then we can talk about heavy cover, guys. You've made me depressed enough already with somebody misapplying their faction sublabel.
Okay. In third place, we have Sean Mcgee with Eldar. This is a fairly standard Hail of Doom and Vengeful, which I believe is possible to hit if you're below half strength. Other list, we have got like Farseer, 2 squads of Avengers, 2 squads of Howling Banshees, 2 squads of Striking Scorpions, 2 squads of Swooping Hawks, 2 Falcons, 2 Wave Serpents, Baharoth, another Farseer, 5 Rangers, and a 6 brick of Shining Spears. So I definitely think he just hit the copy paste key and just kept going too many times and was like, oh, that's 1,800 points, and then added some Shining Spears.
Yeah, he was just like, Shuriken. Ah, man.
I got all these striking scorpions. I guess I'll add some howling banshees. Oh, I got all these howling banshees. I guess I'll add swooping hawks. Oh, falcons. Yeah.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Sean. And then in fourth place we had Michael Mann on Drakari, but this one's actually Drakari.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Well, it's a real space raid, so it's not actual Drakari. It's real space raids.
Oh.
We have Archon, Homunculus, Succubus, one squad of Hecatrix Blood Brides, just a 5-man, which really feels like it's defeating the point.
What are you doing?
5 Cabalite Warriors and 5 Racks, 10 Grotesques.
You only upgraded the witches?
The Grotesques are Artists of the Flesh, so -1 damage. 3 squads of 5 Incubi, 2 Ravagers, a Raider, and 2 Venoms. And then Drazar, a squad of Racks, another 5 Grotesques, and 5 Mandrakes. So 15 -1 damage against strength 7 or less Grotesques, and some stuff to stand around with them. That is going to do it for the GTs of the week. We are going to very quickly do a 2-minute wrap up, and then we're going to be taking a break. So, what thoughts on the general meta as we've seen it from these lists?
Look, I think that if they never released Tyranids, we could be in a pretty cool meta right now if they nerfed Eldar. But that's 2 ifs, and those ifs aren't real. And as someone trying to do really well in events, can't live in that world. So, bring your answers to Space Marines because they're going to be a bunch of the meta again. Bring something that'll get you a 70 when you play Tyranids, and you'll do better than everyone that I've played against. And good luck against Eldar. Just take fast stuff. They get bullied really easily.
Have a plan for Hail of Doom and skew your list as hard as you physically can for Tyranids without losing to Eldar.
Yeah. If you want to beat Nids. Or just accept that it won't happen no matter what you do and then beat the life out of
And
Eldar.
you can probably find something that beats Tyranids. They're not unstoppable.
Yeah, but you gotta you're deep.
Yeah, you gotta go deep. You gotta find the stuff that really works. Like I'll quickly touch on Nids because people have been asking about it. Everything that does damage is good into Nids. There is no defensive profile that doesn't do work into them. Low volume is great into them because they don't really they'll fail saves eventually and they'll take much damage. They don't have damage reduction. Like if you're gonna just fire 10 metal shots at them, you will get wounds through, and you can kill the monsters that way. Or you can just pump damage 2 onto them. They're not super great at getting -1. They don't have -1 damage on anything except the Screamer Killers, which yes, you have to have different answers for, but Screamer Killers are generally a lot easier to kill for. Yeah, but that's defensive. That's a stratagem. You're gonna have to accept that that's a thing.
Yep.
But there are no damage profiles that are just straight dead into Tyranids. Everything does something. You can not everything is optimal, but it's not like playing against Crusher Stampede where damage 2 weapons that were less than strength 8 didn't exist. You just did not care about them.
Might as well be
you have there are things that do damage into Tyranids, and you can do that. Salamander's Flamestorm Regressors, fucking terrifying.
Yep,
You do not want to you will kill any monster in the game with that squad.
Mortal Wounds will do it too. If you can just bypass some of that stuff, like for all the denies and stuff like that, if you can just put a bunch out of phase Mortal Wounds that aren't from a psychic test or are just from weapon profiles, you'll just annihilate Carnifexes in particular.
Tyranids are
they'll just disappear.
That great at denying either. They're good at denying. As a psychic army, you would expect that they will deny a decent amount, but they are just denying you at flat dice rolls.
Well, you're also
and then they win ties with Shadow in the Warp if you're casting with an 18, which you aren't always necessarily. There are plenty of 24 range powers.
Yeah.
But I got charged by players popping the 4-up to do Mortal Wounds and just kind of watched Carnifexes disappear.
Yeah, exactly. You only get one turn of each of the defensive abilities. You can definitely play around it.
That doesn't work on them.
That doesn't work on them?
What we will be saying.
Oh. What do you mean? We got to talk about that later.
Yep.
Yeah. You can take Synaptic Ganglia if you're not playing Leviathan. If you're not playing Leviathan, Leviathan does not get access to the Lord table. Synaptic Ganglia being reroll deny the wedges.
Well, you also have the Neurothrope imperative for a turn as well. So if you expect it coming,
but
that's on the Nids player to do.
But these are things that you can play around, right? You know the turn because at the start of battle round, you know that they're doing that when they do it. You can position around it. You can make plans around the things that are active. They're not popping that on you reactively, other than on one unit in Leviathan, possibly. Now, what we will say, Like, I'm not saying these are good. These are things that are easy to do for every army, but these are the things that you should be looking for skewing towards if you're trying to take an army that is good into most of the things. How do you make it winnable into Tyranids? This is the stuff you got to go heavy on. So, like, go heavy on the damage profiles that are good into the stuff that's really good, but like just put in the efficiencies. Don't go for plus wounds. Go for reroll wounds. Reroll wounds are really good into Tyranids because you just make them
Yeah.
take saves. They are at best taking 4-up saves. Most of the stuff is 3-up or 4-up armor save. Even the warriors, if you make them take enough saves, they will go away.
Yeah, they'll die.
Tyranids, I would generally, I'm still in the boat that they don't have the best secondary plans in the game. They're just really good at killing your stuff, so it doesn't matter.
They're super
And
good at
they
strangle.
get
It's
100 at the
real
end.
hard.
Yeah, but okay, they're broken. They're good at stranglehold. Wow, I'm shocked. Yeah, the
Yeah,
army that
sure.
kills
I'm just
everybody is
saying,
extraordinary.
like, it's a thing.
Stranglehold is a good secondary for them, but they're not great at action secondaries. Like Banners is fine,
It's a little
but it
dicey.
can be a bit painful if you get them taken down early, or you just get like something dumped on them and you can't raise them in the first place.
Yeah, you can always
Harpies dropping 4 mines down is funny.
pop gargoyles if your opponent takes R&D or something like that, and just
Yeah,
deny them
exactly.
those points for like the rest of the game, unless they want to do it with like a 9-man warrior squad or
Yeah,
something
and
like
even
that.
gargoyles is a heavy CP investment if you want to get it out of gargoyles.
Yep.
Yeah, and then things like psychic ritual or mental interrogation or warp ritual are reasonable, but you can play around those ones. It's not easy, but like you can do things like if you're a transport army, you can just stick your characters in transports. Warp ritual caps at 12, so there is like downsides there, and it forces them to be in the middle with the big monsters that you don't necessarily kill. A lot line of sight blocking terrain is generally pretty good against them because the stuff that has the venom cannons is generally slow outside of harpies, and won't have the easiest time getting around ruins because it's on monsters
Yep.
that will have to go around ruins physically. Being more than an inch outside of the walls, if you do avoid getting charged and things like that. Harpies, if you're playing with ruins with windows, do die a lot easier than if you're playing with ruins without them. So the WC boards, for example, all the small ruins have windows, which means that you can hide from reprisal from the venom cannons and also shoot harpies. So things like that will give you a lot of options. If you're playing on boards with a lot of dense, don't rely on +1 to hit because Venom Throat combined with dense cover is -2 to hit, and +1 to hit won't get through that.
Mhm.
Yep.
So if you can get things like reroll hits, they have no native ways to deny rerolls other than like a couple of specific characters and I think
Yeah, they have
Raveners. No, they're just
Kronos' War Relic.
Cronus is something lets you pick a unit within close range in command phase. I would
Synaptic
not
link
call that
range.
reliable. Yeah, so within 12 or within 12 of something within 12. It's not super easy to set up.
Yep.
It requires something to live there.
Pay attention to your opponent's adaptive physiology choice. There's one for universal heroic interventions. They can get +1 to charge rolls if they choose that one, or they can ignore modifiers, or they're
There's
like
also
they can turn off Overwatch if like they think that you're going to Overwatch them a lot. Like if you have a lot of flamers and you're anticipating being able to do that, your Tyranid opponent might just be like, I don't want to deal with that and turn it off.
yeah, the other side of the coin too is oh man, I had a train of thought and I just lost it.
Excellent.
Yep, it just went right out of my head.
Tyranids are going to be really strong, and this is the kind of things you should be thinking about when you're planning for it. You can plan for this. There were lists that did beat Harlequins, and Harlequins were probably about the same power level. But you could build an Eldar Halo Doom list that about the same. Like if it's ±5%, if it gives a shit,
I guess.
it's academic at that point. Like, yeah, it's incredibly broken. You have to skew your list heavy if you want to beat it. You can still do it. Halo Doom lists for Eldar are very good. Their damage profile lines up really well. Auto wounding, particularly, I would say, is a really good place to be if you
Yep.
can be.
Yep.
Um,
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. It's really easy to build a list assuming that you're always in synaptic link range and then not have that happen. Just keep an eye on that when you're playing. Like it's real like I've noticed that like every once in a while, like I'll mess it up. I'm sure opponents will just when they go to do something that requires synaptic link, or like after they're done moving, just be like, hey, what do we got going on here? Like make sure that you're good because it's real easy to mess that up. And you can act to mess that up for them by killing out some of the synapse stuff and make it like a lot more awkward.
yeah, if you've got stuff like you're trying to bounce like the high times reroll ones back to warriors, and you can kill out the middle link in the chain that's a lot weaker, that's a good option.
Yep.
Um, yeah, the monsters not being -1 damage outside of
Carnifex.
specifically Carnifexes, they are more fragile than you're probably used to.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
Crusher Stampede monsters were harder to kill than these monsters are.
Only
Um,
Maliceptors have a native invulnerable save,
and
essentially, as
Tyrants.
well. Well, and Tyrants, but outside of characters, essentially. All of the other monsters, just Maliceptors have an enroll natively, and everything else does not, except for the
Oh,
turn where you pop the imperative for Zone
the
Throw.
synaptic imperative things do have to be alive to use the imperative in the first place.
Yep.
They don't have to continue being alive. If you can rush the zone tropes, they will have to spend CP to get that link at
To
that
do
point.
it.
So
Yeah.
there is a value in doing that because that stratagem is also once per game, I want to say.
Might be.
Um,
Not sure.
I mean, you can use the
but also, if
psychic
you can
power,
rush
but they
the
need to be on the
warlord, like,
field.
go for that too. But like, that's not. Maliceptors are not impossible to kill. Like, there's definitely things you can do with it. Like, I have found stuff like Scarabocult Terminators. If you don't, if they deny or you don't get off the
Minus one
aura, the
strength.
psychic action for -1 strength, can just force enough saves on you that your Maliceptor will go down. Maliceptors generally tend to be getting denied a lot more than other things in the army does because they are up close and personal by definition of their powers, requiring them to be within 12 for the flat 3 mortal wounds. So they tend to get denied a little more often and tend to be in denied range a little more often.
They're also a lot
Um,
less scary once they're bracketed.
yeah, exactly. Even if you can get them down to like, if you can get them down to 7 wounds, even they are a lot.
Yeah.
They're slower and they are doing flat 2 instead of flat 3. You can get them down to 3, which is yeah. At that point, it's basically dead anyway.
Yep.
They're also just not good in combat if you can hold them up. Like, you can do things like just getting into combat with them. They have 6 attacks. They're kind of okay with the super attack. It's only damage 2. And then you can do things like basing them with one squad and then leaving the other squad out of engagement range. So when it does its mortals, it hits the squad that's in base contact with it.
Yep.
Which might be something with a feel no pain. It might be something with a lot of levels of wounds. It might be something that doesn't matter. And you
Throw
can definitely hold
chaff.
them up that way.
Throw chaff in front of them, like if you're Gene Stealer Cult, like put a squad of acolytes as the
Yeah.
closest unit. And nobody wants their Maliceptor throwing all of those mortals into acolyte squads. That's just
If you
not
can
a
do
thing they
things
do well.
like the Armor of Contempt stratagem for Space Marines, Landspeeder Storms are a nightmare for Maliceptors because it
Hate those
generally
things.
takes an entire psychic phase for a Maliceptor to clear out a Landspeeder Storm, and probably a CP as well to cast an additional power.
Yep.
Because if it's behind a wall, it's not catching smite, so it's only taking the flat 3 mortals. And flat 3, flat 3, flat 3 doesn't kill a Landspeeder Storm with Armor of Contempt on average. Like, you're probably going to kill it like 20% of the time.
I
And
thought
that's
I had
requiring you
Psychic
to get
Scream in
3
there,
7
right?
plus casts. Psychic Stream requires line of sight. It doesn't get Synaptic Link range. It's
Ah.
only newer power set that does. Psychic Scream is just an 18-inch range spike.
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna call it there on the meta discussion. Obviously, we'll see more from like what people are doing to character Tyranids. The best thing you can do to see what's beating Tyranids is to watch event results because people who are winning events right now are probably going through Tyranids or playing Tyranids,
Yep.
or getting very lucky.
Yeah, especially starting this week, it's going to be wall to wall nids. There's going to be a lot of like random nids that don't do well that'll drag the win rate down, but the dudes at the top will likely have had to beat nids to get there.
Yeah, I'm fully planning on playing against Nids once or twice in my tournament this weekend, where I am definitely playing Nids. Right, we're going to take our break. We will be back in about 5 minutes because I do need to go to bed at some point. So we're going to take a very short break this week. Thank you for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap up the show for 2 seconds. So that is the end of part 1 of 40K Fight Club. This has been episode 13. A balanced meta is Eldar in both hands, something like that.
Eldar list in both
There's
hands.
an Eldar list in both hands. There we go. I knew it was something like that. It's late. If you are listening on a podcast app, that is the end of the show for you. Thank you very much to everybody for joining us for this ride. Please do make sure you drop a review or a like or whatever you can do on the app. It really helps us out with discoverability and it makes us look better to the show hosts, which is always appreciated. If you are watching on the live stream, stick around. We'll be back in about 5 minutes for the bonus round. And if you are watching on YouTube, you can click the little members button and it'll give you the option to sign up. You can pay us a nominal fee every month, and that'll get you access to the bonus round for us, which is the part 2 of the show where we go through questions. Also, all of the other bonus content for all the other shows. So that'll get you battle reports. That'll get you the second half of Chasing the Narrative, where you can find out stuff like why Anthony likes getting punched in the face. It's not just because he's wept. It's there's also very valid reasons.
Yep.
So that is youtube.com/c/best in tabletop, and you can find the subscribe or the members button there. You can also support us at Patreon, patreon.com/best in tabletop, and that is $10 a month, and that gets you access to the Patreon Discord where you can have wonderful conversations about things like why Paul doesn't like sauce.
That's true.
Which I agree with him on. Sauce is overrated. And if you want to tell me I'm wrong, I will not be accepting any comments, criticisms, or anything from chat. Discord is the only place you can tell me I'm wrong about sauce.
Bring it.
All right, everybody. We are going to take a 5-minute break. If you're in the chat, please do feel free to stick around. We will be having a bit of chit chat once I refresh.
Yeah, I'll be back.